Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Javier with the Real Javier Novoa channel. It's a channel that's dedicated to applying the principles of interiorism to living free, transforming your life, bringing everything into your life that you came to bring in, creating your own masterpiece, and it's the masterpiece that you came in this world to create. And this video is going to be the first in a series of videos where I'm going to basically be doing a deep dive into some of the major principles of interiorism. And of course, the whole purpose of interiorism is lifestyle construction, guys. It's lifestyle design. It's creating a lifestyle exactly as you want it using the deeper tools. And these tools are not new. I call it interiorism in order to make it more applicable and make it studyable by us. But these tools are not new. All you have to do is look into the secret societies. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think secret societies are for? What do you think the Masons and the Rosicrucians and all of these other secret societies, the Templars, what was the secret knowledge that they were guarding? Now, you're not going to get this from a third degree of whatever this society is. You're talking about the upper degrees where they revealed this knowledge, of course revealed in the books, and all these books are available. But what knowledge did these secret societies teach? Well, they taught the knowledge that was thought to be derived from Solomon, and they taught the knowledge that went as far back as ancient Egypt. And to get a little bit of a sense of what that knowledge is, you can read the Kybalion. And of course, this was presented by the three initiates, and it gave the major principles. But these are the principles of what Vadim Zeland calls in reality transurfing, which is another amazing body of work that you need to read if you want to get deeply into these principles. It's called Moving Reality by Outer Intention. He called it outer intention. Of course, just for a quick recap, there's inner intention and outer intention. Inner intention says, I'm going to start a project and I have to now go and plan, and I have to actually physically move reality to make it happen. I have to push reality. This is like Newtonian physics. Well, it gets a lot of work done, guys. You can work a normal job. You can even, to some extent, own a business and do it all, but it stops working after a certain point. This is Newtonian physics. The second aspect of this is outer intention, and I ask you to consider the fact that the stones that went to build the pyramids were such that even modern tools and technology cannot lift these stones. You can just look up information on the internet about that. It's readily available. How did they build these pyramids? There are many theories that they used masses of people to do it, but it was done by outer intention, guys, and the ancient Egyptians mastered outer intentions. I don't want to get too deep into this, but the secret societies were designed so that they could teach the elite how to use this aspect of outer intention. And ladies and gentlemen, this video, and indeed this series, comes with a little caveat, a little trigger warning. Many of you might get triggered. This is not going to be for everybody. In fact, this series is only going to be for people who are advanced in manifestation. Anyone can come along, but you're really only going to understand it and benefit from it if you're advanced in manifestation, you have an open mind. So, trigger warning here. The first aspect that I want to tell you, Abraham Hicks has said it, but it's not emphasized enough. You see, because, guys, my channel is not about woo-woo. This is not like hippie stuff. This is not like these law of attraction or law of assumption coaches that you see online who say that you can attract any significant person that you want. You get whatever you want. You are God and you get whatever you want all the time. Well, that's true on a level. Abraham Hicks said this, and all of the great deep manifestation teachers said this. You do not get what you want. So I have to tell you, unfortunately, you cannot get everything that you want, and often you do not get everything that you want. And the reason for that is that you don't get what you want. You get what you're vibrating. You get what you're on the frequency of. And of course, the highest level is that you already are it and therefore you have it. And in fact, you have to, in order to get what you want, you have to stop wanting it and you have to give it to yourself. You have to receive it. But on the level below the highest level, which is the level we're on, manifestation, which is in the simulation, you rarely get what you want, guys. In fact, most of the time you get what you don't want. A lot of people are really good at getting what they don't want. You have to vibrate with what you want, and then that becomes yours, and that's what we know as using outer intention. I hope you understand me just a little bit here. In this series, we're going to talk to you about exactly how to use outer intention, but in this video, I just want to give you the key. And it is the key of transforming what you want into what you have. And it's very simple, and this is, of course, the first lesson that's taught to the elites in secret societies, and we're giving this knowledge away. In fact, Neville Goddard had a cryptic message in his teachings, and he said that he identified himself most with the apostle Judas. And of course, in traditional Orthodox circles, Judas is considered evil. He betrayed Jesus. But actually, if you go into the deeper metaphysical meaning, Judas was the embodiment of giving the gift to humanity of what was previously hidden. Hope you understand me just a little bit. And Neville Goddard was seen as Judas by some of these secret societies for spilling the beans, so to speak, spilling the secrets. But these secrets were meant to be taught because the very act of keeping these modalities secret from humanity, which are now finally being exposed, is in itself, shall we say, the last frontier of poverty thinking, because you're thinking that, oh, only I can have these tools, so that because there's only so much wealth to go around, so therefore only a small group of people can have them. And that's poverty thinking, because remember, as Bashar says, we all have our own universe, and in reality, in the grand metaphysical reality, nothing is scarce. Everything is abundant. Of course, in economics, there is scarcity. That's the basis for economics. And again, when we're dealing on the simulation, there is scarcity. But how do we transcend that scarcity? That's what I'm going to aim to teach you in this series coming up, is that we have to pull, so to speak, metaphorically, the spiritual, that transcendent realm, into the material realm. It's very easy, guys. It's basically a one-step process, and you know this. What I'm going to tell you is not going to be a secret, especially if you've been in the manifesting realm for a while. You know this. It's very easy. You give it to yourself now. So, you want a Ferrari? You can give that to yourself right this moment. And the moment that you focus on it, first of all, it's yours already, because let's say I'm now imagining myself driving a Ferrari. I don't give a damn about cars. I can drive a Toyota. I don't care about cars. But let's say for those of you who are excited about a Ferrari, I don't care if I manifest a Ferrari, but you may. So I'm now imagining myself driving the Ferrari. I have my hands on the wheel. And that's it, guys. Neville Goddard says that's it. The secret societies say, as above, so below, which means as within, so without. So I have now, simply by imagining myself, it could be a second of imagination, guys, and focus. And of course, you can return to that again. But the moment I do that act, the moment even I have an inclination to it, I don't even have to imagine it. I can just recognize that I have a negative emotion from my not having a Ferrari. And then at that point, if I simply allow, I already have the opposite of that, which is the Ferrari. And then a chain of cause and effect happens that is going to bring that Ferrari into my experience. And it's going to do it very quickly. Now, you ask, Javier, that's not true, because I've been imagining $1 million for 5-10 years and it hasn't happened. Javier, I've been imagining my partner, my specific person, and it hasn't happened. Well, that's because you're keeping yourself from it. And I can class the obstacles to this in two very broad classes. the obstacle to doing it. So many of us, the only reason that what we want in our lives doesn't come into our lives is that we don't persist, as Neville Goddard said. And persistence is not struggle. Persistence means simply when you run up against something that says, I don't have it, here's the way I can explain it. If something in your life tells you, I don't have that Ferrari, you immediately go in your mind and you focus on what evidence there is for the fact that you already have it, or it is already coming to you in time. So for example, you can go outside after you've done this imaginal act, or after you've even wished for the Ferrari, or imagined the Ferrari, and you can see your old beat up Toyota, but then you can say, no, I already have that Ferrari. You persist in it. If you do that, that thing is going to come to you quicker than you can imagine. But there are two obstacles to this, and only two obstacles that I can see in all of the different situations fall under one of these two categories. The first obstacle to this, guys, and by the way, this is all in this realm. If you can get to where you're in the spiritual realm, or in the actual reality, your God self, and you can live in that realm most of the time, then all of these other chains of cause and effect will happen automatically, but we're not always there. I know I'm not always there. We're living in the world, we're living in reality, and this is reality. That's why I say interiorism is not a withdrawal from reality. We ask you to do it for a few seconds throughout the day, but interiorism is meant for people who are living in this life. It's not meant for people in monasteries. It's meant for practical people. So, on this realm, the two major obstacles to persisting, to going back to your wish fulfilled. Number one is it doesn't feel good to do it. So, I think there can be two main reasons why it doesn't feel good to do it. For example, a lot of people report this to me in the work that I've done with them about either finances or their specific person. They'll say, well, Javier, I try to imagine my specific person and I get jittery, I get anxiety. Can any of you identify with that? And they don't necessarily know why, but there are a few reasons why. If you have anxiety with this, it could be that, number one, this is not your desire, and Vadim Zeland talks about it. What you need to do before you start this process, before you try to utilize the tools of interiorism, which are very powerful, and you can even bypass this, sit down and ask yourself very deeply, and you can journal this. I've made videos about this in the past. Ask yourself, is this really my desire? Or am I doing this because I think that it'll either impress others if I have it, or because I'm trying to get some kind of revenge, or because I think I'm owed something, or just generally trying to show off. So let's say you want a specific person, but you want this person because she's very beautiful, but yet you're not really sure that you're going to be completely compatible with this person. In fact, there are some things you don't like about her, but she's extremely gorgeous, and you want her. You're working against yourself because you're going to feel anxiety when you try to get into the state of that. On our principles, on interiorism, we call this getting into state. Whether that's imagining, whether that's feeling the context of being with this person, you feel nervous. That's a sign that this isn't really your desire. And as Vadim Zeland explains in his Reality Transurfing, any desire that we have, we can make it our desire, but it takes work, guys. You're going to have to journal about it. You're going to have to do some work. A much easier way is to just recognize it's not your desire and give it to the universe, and then focus on something else that is truly your desire and detail that. So that's number one, it's not really your desire. Number two, the reasons why it doesn't feel good to imagine this is because, again, you don't believe that this can actually happen. And that's where we go deeper. Remember, belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. You don't have to believe it. So if you realize that it's because you don't believe it can happen, say hooray, because all that really means is that you have no idea how to get there. But the very point of utilizing these principles of interiorism is so that you can accomplish big goals, or what we call intentions, without knowing how to get there. In that case, you simply keep persisting. You do the imaginal act, and you keep persisting, and you try to relax, guys. And this is what the principle that we're going to teach you here. You see, science has pointed out that the brain has various waves. There is beta, which is our normal waking state. And this is basically the realm of the left brain. This is how we do workaday projects. So I have to do a project. I have to fill out some paperwork. I can get the information that's available out there, and I can use my left brain and I can do that. That's good for accomplishing doable tasks. But when you're trying to do outer intention, when you're trying to accomplish a task that you have no idea how to do, and you want to use the resources of the universe, you have to be in alpha. An alpha brain state, it's a very calm and focused brain state, and it's relatively easy to get into. There are many principles. And I just want you to know, the secret societies have taught about these brain waves for centuries. And in fact, they call the alpha state the wealth state or the king state. And they call the beta waves poverty brain waves or a poverty brain state. So when you're worried, when you're nervous and you're trying to figure out how to do it, just tell yourself, I'm in poverty brain waves right now. And as Abraham Hicks says, there's not enough action in the world that's going to compensate and help you to achieve something when you're in a poverty brainwave, because your brain waves are shooting incoherently all over the place. If you look at a graph, and we might put it up, just read Joe Dispenza's books, and he has pictures of this. The brain waves look, it's like if my brain waves were a machine gun, you'd all be dead right now in beta. To get to alpha, and by the way, the Bible talks about Moses parting the Red Sea and crossing into Egypt. And this is very, very metaphysical. Because remember, ancient Egypt was, if not the source, then the main practitioners of many of these principles. And Moses crossed from Egypt to the Promised Land. And so that is, in symbology, the crossing from the left hemisphere to the right hemisphere. And it's really using both hemispheres because you need both. But the alpha is where the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere are balanced. And so you basically take a lot of the energy that's in the left hemisphere and you put it into the right hemisphere. And that is where you start receiving downloads, guys. You see, all of the ancient religions, especially the Hindu texts, talk about the fact that there is this Akashic database. They call it the Akashic records. And it's like computing because remember, this reality is a simulation. It's been proven by scientists. It's been proven by mathematical equations. You can read the literature, and we've done a lot of videos about that. So the simulation is basically a computer. It's like a computer. There is a database. And a memory, by the way, is not stored in the brain. The brain stores basically a link or a website. You can give the analogy of the internet. The brain stores the address. And then when we focus on that address, the page comes up. That page is stored in the Akashic records. And just look at the work of Rupert Sheldrake on this as well, how basically there's learning through species. If one group of monkeys learns how to use a certain tool or implement, all of a sudden all that species of monkeys learns. It's really wild. But this is not woo-woo, guys. It's all in the scientific literature. So the Akashic database is where all information in this grand computer is stored. Now, to access that, you have to be in alpha. Because if the left brain is chattering and it is predominant, all that information is still there, but you can't hear it. And by the way, that is the secret to manifestation. Everything is there. Your Ferrari is there, or at least the path to it is there. You just can't see it because you do not have access to these Akashic records. Everyone has access to them, but you can't see it. You have to calm down your brain waves. There are many easy ways to do that. I will show you one here. The easiest way, guys, is to simply get completely present, like Eckhart Tolle teaches, and like, of course, the non-dual teachers teach. Just get completely present. Even if you're nervous, don't fight it. Surrender. In fact, the quickest key to getting to alpha is surrender. You can just say, I surrender. Let's do it now. I don't care if you're feeling nervous, anxious. Just say, I surrender. Many of you are already there. It depends on how nervous you are, but many of you are already there. You can pause the video and do this. Just say, I surrender. And then just become completely present. Just see all of the sights. Observe everything, hear all of the sounds. Now, many of you can't do that yet because you're not practicing this, and that's fine. There's a very easy way to do it. It's the Wim Hof breathing. And you can do just 30 in-breaths. Now, Wim Hof encourages you to do this for 4 segments, but you can just do this now. You breathe in, and then you breathe out. You rest to let the air out. So you go... And then the 10th one, then hold the breath for like 30 seconds. Then breathe in and hold that for like 15 seconds. I guarantee you that 80% of you now know what alpha feels like. You've got a tingling feeling and your brain is clear. Now that is the time to observe your scene or show yourself your wish. You can do it non-verbally. Give yourself your desire there. And notice how the bad feelings have been sidetracked. It is in that state. It will only take you a few seconds. You will get all of the answers you need, and you will have your vision. You will have that process begin into motion of getting your vision to you on this reality. We're going to be talking about more uses of this in the next other videos. The second main reason, and this has been told to me by many students, and I've experienced it a lot. So let's say I want to generate $1,000 by Saturday. Many people will not even imagine that. Neville Goddard says, dare to imagine, dare that your wish is fulfilled or whatever you desire. Why dare? Many people would never even dare. If I told you today is Wednesday, if I told you imagine that you have $1,000 extra by Saturday. Of course, Abraham Hicks and others recommend that you don't try to make these quantum leaps unless you're ready. But that's all a concession to the fact that you're waiting for it on this timeline. It can't come on this timeline because this timeline is basically a reflection of the past. But you can get to another timeline. But many people say, I may not manifest it. And you may not. Okay, so what? Well, the issue that they're not addressing is that they have some sort of self-conscious issues or they have some sort of worthiness issues. If I can't manifest, I'm not worthy. And that is absolute BS because you were born a worthy creature. You are one with the one. You were not born in sin. You were born in perfection. Therefore, you don't have to do anything to demonstrate your worth. So many people out there trying to demonstrate your worth. So what I want you to do, if you have this second fear that, oh, I can't manifest it, so therefore if I try and I fail, then I'm a failure at manifesting. I want you to journal very well about the fact that no, this is just play. This is just an experiment and it doesn't matter. Tell yourself, I'm just playing with the energy. This is just an experiment and it doesn't matter. Now I will tell you that it's impossible that you will fail at that. And if it doesn't seem like, let's say you say, I want to manifest $1,000 and on Saturday you don't see the $1,000. You need to tell yourself, No, I have the $1,000 because I declared it. And as the great metaphysicians say, I am the law. Therefore, I make the rules, and the rule is if I say it, it is manifest. So it must be here. I just can't see it. And then say, universe, show it to me. And then what you can do is you can do revision. So let's say your vision was that you saw $1,000 in your account, and then you look on Saturday morning and you don't see it. Just revise that in your imagination. Just imagine that you saw that $1,000. And I promise you, if you keep doing that and you don't worry about the fact that you can't manifest it, eventually, over time, you will start showing yourself that you will manifest these things faster and faster. Again, just some introductory points to have this system work for you. You want to get into alpha, guys. And of course, you are alpha, so don't struggle to get into alpha. You don't have to get into alpha. But on this film roll, in this physical, quote-unquote, reality in the simulation, if you get into alpha, that will bring it to you much faster. We will show you more techniques for getting into alpha. We're going to be talking about more aspects of this. But we're going to be bringing the knowledge to you, the little tricks of the trade that the other law of assumption coaches aren't teaching you about making your dreams reality. This is the cheat code, guys. This is the cheat code. So if you enjoy our work, if you support our work, please do subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share on the videos. We have a lot more series coming out about practical interiorism, about how to accelerate your life going into 2025. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving with friends and family if you're in the United States. And to everybody else, a great rest of the week and weekend with much love and appreciation. This is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa, bidding you a wonderful weekend.